Hey guys, welcome back. It is now the end of June, so that means it is time for my June wrap-up and June book haul. Unfortunately, I don't have many books to haul for you this month because I ordered some books and they haven't come in, and I only purchased one at a store. So I have one book to haul, and that is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the Throne of Glass series. I'm not going to go into any details about this book because I really don't want to spoil anything from the first book. But I'm really excited to start reading this, and this book is a little chunky, so we'll see how it goes. But I've actually been surprised with Sarah J. Maas's chunky books. They actually go by fairly quickly, so I'm hoping this will be no exception. Okay, so on to my June wrap-up. In the month of June, I read 3 books, and 2 of them are a reread, and I also listened to a few chapters in an audiobook. So the first book that I read is Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I buddy read this book with Hannah from over at TheRainyReader. All the information to her channel will be linked down below, so definitely go check out her channel. She's absolutely amazing. Since this is the 3rd book in the series, I'm not going to go into much detail about it. I will be filming a book review on it soon, so stay tuned for that. But all I can say is that I love Celaena so freaking much. She has become one of my favorite characters of all time. I was a little worried going into this book because it is rather chunky. It is 562 pages. Crown of Midnight read a little slower than Throne of Glass. Throne of Glass I got through rather quickly, but Crown of Midnight took me a month to a month and a half to really finish because it was a little bit slower pace. But this book, that was definitely not the case. I had to stop myself from going too far because Hannah and I were setting a certain amount of chapters that we wanted to read each week, and I didn't want to go too far and accidentally spoil something for her. So I couldn't help but read more and more. It went by very quickly. The next book is another Sarah J. Maas book, and that is A Court of Thorns and Roses. This is the 1st book in the series. I originally read this book pretty much this time last year, and with my recent purchase of A Court of Mist and Fury, I forgot a little bit of the politics in this book, so I kind of wanted a refresher. So I decided to reread it, and I did a book review on this, so I will post it down below. I did enjoy this book, not as much as I am enjoying the Throne of Glass series, but this is just the first one, so I did rather enjoy it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and this book was 416 pages. But basically, this book, we follow our main character, Feyre. She is about 17 years old. She is pretty much the sole provider for her family, so she has to do a lot of hunting in order to feed her family. Well, one night she is hunting in the woods and she kills a wolf. This wolf turns out to be a fae. Now, Feyre grows up believing that faes are just legends, but one night a beast comes to her house and demands that she goes and lives in the fae world as payment for killing a fae. She ends up learning about the fae world, and romance and chaos happens. The next book that I read is also a reread, and that is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This book has 352 pages, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I decided to reread this book because I really want to finish the series before the movie comes out in September, and I hadn't read book 2 and 3, so I decided to just kind of start from the beginning, reread Miss Peregrines, and then read Hollow City and Library of Souls. The creativity of this book is amazing, and the pictures are eerie. At first I was hesitant to pick it up because I am a big wuss when it comes to anything scary or horror, but that's not the case. This book is not horror. It's more eerie, a little bit creepy, but there are also scenes where you can just see vivid colors, and there are scenes where everything is full of life. So I'm really excited to see the movie because I feel like Tim Burton is going to do a really good job at really depicting Miss Peregrine's home. But basically we follow our main character Jacob, and Jacob grows up with his grandfather telling him all these stories and shows him pictures of all these peculiar children. Jacob, of course, believes that these stories are just made up until then Jacob ends up going to a remote island and he discovers this house that is kind of in ruins and learns that it was the home for Miss Peregrines and her children, and he ends up embarking on a pretty fantastic adventure. I don't want to say too much because I really think it's best to go into the story blind, just because it's more exciting and the way the story puts everything together, gives you a little bit of information at a time, is genius. And this book is very well structured and the creativity is amazing. The characters are fun. There's so much originality in this book and I highly recommend it. I also listened to a few chapters from Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. That is the second book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, so I'm not going to go into much detail about it. Alright guys, well that is it for this video. In total I read 1,330 pages, which I think is pretty fantastic. Comment down below, let me know some of the books that you read in June. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel. I hope you have a lovely evening and I'll see you next time with another video. Bye!